5 takeaways from 2021. So I'm Lee Blue, and I've put together a list of 5 things that really kind of hit me this year, like some things that I kind of picked up from 2021. I've got a couple things about WordPress, some marketing ideas, and then a couple of thoughts to share with you about kind of, what do I expect from 2022? And what kind of skills and what kind of mindset and strategies do we need to be successful next year based on all the stuff that just happened to us this past year? Okay, so let's just dive right in. The first thing, I feel like Gutenberg has finally landed, at least for me. I don't know how you feel about it. I know it's a pretty volatile topic, but I've been kind of not so happy with the whole Gutenberg experience up until recently. And then, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so, I rebuilt a big site with Cadence using Gutenberg blocks and stuff. And the big thing that I took away from that experience was how fast the admin area is when using Gutenberg over page builders. And I've used it. So basically I have like 3 different platforms that I build websites with. Sometimes I'll build websites in Oxygen. I built a couple Divi sites, and then I tried Cadence. Now, it's kind of all over the board. Like, I understand that these aren't apples to apples comparisons. I think that Oxygen still has a really strong base, because you can just do some wild stuff. And that, that doesn't even use the WordPress theming engine. It's a totally different beast compared to like Divi or Cadence or something like that. Divi, on the other hand, I'm really questioning whether or not I'll build sites with Divi in the future because it's so slow on the admin side compared to Cadence. And for my personal workflow, I tend not to use a lot of features in Divi that I don't have accessible to me in Cadence. In fact, some sort of the opposite is true. When I got Cadence Pro, I started using a lot of the login, logout stuff and the like the elements where you can dynamically display sidebars and stuff. I think that's really powerful stuff. And the benefits of the speed is really, really cool. So for me, at least, I've really been enjoying that. Just built a whole new site in Cadence yesterday. And it was great. So that was kind of a huge thing for me in 2021 because previous to that, and really it's like the tail end of 2021, because previous to all of this stuff, I didn't really like all the comment stuff that's going on behind the scenes when you use Gutenberg and whatever. But I finally think that I've crossed over to where the benefits outweigh the drawbacks. So that was a big one for me for 2021. Here's the next one. I don't offer SEO anymore. Doesn't mean I don't do SEO, but I've switched to, I guess I would call it content marketing instead of SEO. And the difference really is, like when you offer like technical, like keywords, getting your tags straight, all the on-site SEO stuff, I just don't feel like that's worthwhile outside of the context of a larger marketing plan. And this year has really, I've really kind of just moved on in terms of offering SEO this year. And now it's like, okay, let's do a weekly blog post. Let's also do, email marketing and social media management. And like you write the blog post, maybe even do something audio and create a podcast out of it and just kind of lump together this whole content marketing strategy and then push that out as part of an SEO strategy as well. So you're getting backlinks, you're getting organic traffic and a lot of things that you otherwise might rely on SEO for, but it's bigger than SEO. It's a lot bigger. And I think this year, it's really important to focus on bigger than just raw SEO skills. And so my recommendation, take it for what it's worth. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do, but for us, we don't like offer SEO as like a line item to our offer anymore. And it's now bundled into a much larger content marketing strategy where we can really be there to support the clients, both in terms of the technical needs that they have, but also the marketing side as well. And this, again, underscores the whole DoubleStack mindset, which is it's the tech stack and the marketing stack, thus the name DoubleStack, that really is important. And if you just offer the SEO services like in the old school way, I feel like you're only bringing the tech stack and you need the other side to it. And because of that, I don't really feel comfortable just calling it SEO, even though there is an organic traffic component to the whole thing. So there's that. The third one is deeper is much stronger than going wide. And 2021, I think, really just put the nail in the coffin for web designers who are in implementation mindset only, where they're like, I'll build websites for anyone. I've got a great skill set. I'm available now. Please work with me. That story that is kind of like the getting started web designer story, where it's like, I don't have any particular target markets. I don't know what anybody needs. I just want you to tell me what to do because I have skills and availability, and therefore I can help. And I think that's not going to work. In fact, I'm already seeing it not work in this year, and I definitely think it's going to get worse next year. We talked a little bit last week about what's going on Fiverr and Upwork and all these freelance communities, and there's just so many people competing for your leads. It's just not easy to get the leads anymore if you don't have a reason for people to work with you. And the reason has to be more than your portfolio looks good, right? Because first of all, it's hard to build a portfolio if you don't have any leads, unless you just do free work, which is exhausting and burns you out. Secondly, your portfolio is never going to be better than all the templates that are available on Wix or Squarespace in every possible genre of markets or whatever. It's like you just can't compete head to head with web design platforms or an international community of freelancers willing to build very inexpensive websites. And the solution, instead of just going broad with your skills and availability, is to go deep by really picking a target market, understanding the nuance of that market, and then coming at it from both a technical perspective of, yes, I can actually do the technical things you need in order to succeed, but also the marketing perspective, meaning I actually know how to deploy the tools on your behalf in the market that you're in, right? Just think about email marketing. Like the way a real estate agent does email marketing is dramatically different from how a doctor might do email marketing, or how a photographer might do email marketing. So you really want to dive in and go deep instead of wide. And I think we're already seeing that happen this year, and moving forward into next year, it's just going to be more important to go deep rather than wide. So that's number 3. The fourth one is incremental improvement, as opposed to trying to bite off everything all at once. Because as soon as you think, okay, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I don't want to go wide. I don't want to just be implementation mode person. I want to be able to go deep and actually provide leadership and solutions that are effective for my clients. But man, that means I got to study this whole market and learn everything about them and figure out all this stuff before I can do anything. So you have to learn everything before you can do anything. And that's overwhelming, and it's probably going to burn you out. And so the better approach is incremental. So like over the next week, like when Friday rolls around, can you say on Friday that you've picked up one small thing that you didn't know how to do the previous Monday? It could be something as simple as, man, I really need to be able to set up email drip campaigns for people. I know it's important to build an email list, but I just haven't really put any time into thinking about that. And so you jump over to MailChimp or into MailerLite or something like that, click around, pick up the skill set, look around, figure out how to deploy that skill set in the context of going deep in a particular market, and think, okay, I've kind of added one thing that I didn't have before into the mix, and then appreciate yourself for that accomplishment. In fact, even so much so that you can actually offer that new service incrementally to your clients. Like say, hey, what if we did this whole email marketing thing that we couldn't do before, now we can? Why don't we kind of bump that? So not only are you appreciating yourself for the incremental change, you're offering the incremental change to your clients, you're actually getting paid along the way to learn incrementally. I think that's a really important point, because if you don't do it that way, and if you're like me, it's going to feel like you can't just do one thing at a time. You're going to feel like I've got to learn all the things before I can do anything. And that's going to burn you out. You're going to get stuck. And you don't have to. It's much better if you do it incrementally. And all of the steps, like, figure out what you want to learn incrementally, appreciate that step, and then offer incremental enhancements to your clients rather than these gigantic shifts all at once. And I think going into next year, that's going to be a huge mindset shift for a lot of people, because going deep is going to be really important. But in order to go deep successfully, you're going to want to do it incrementally. And then the fifth big takeaway from 2021, because there's been so many problems. Like, just think about all the crazy stuff that's happened. I don't know, I do a lot of Facebook advertising. There's the Apple iOS update that, the whole privacy tracking thing that made it hard to run ads, either for yourself or for your clients. There's been a huge influx in the number of people trying to run ads on Facebook, so the cost of the ads are going up. There's tons of changes all going on, and it can get overwhelming. You'd be like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to figure all this stuff out? And if you try to do it by yourself, I think you're going to get overwhelmed and probably burn out and stuck, even if it's something as specific as Facebook ads. But it could be like, hey, I'm sick of being this kind of garden variety web designer. I really want to focus on something. I want to be able to go deep and really accentuate how I can help someone. But man, it's such a huge jump, right? So like, maybe you're thinking about how to package your different services together, how to do the pricing, or how to make sure you get recurring revenue. Or maybe you're thinking longer term, you're thinking, well, exit strategy. It's like, I don't want my business to be valued because of me specifically. I want the business itself to have intrinsic value. And this is a big thing we talked a little bit about last week. If you're trying to build a business for yourself and you're intending to do it for the long term, it's really important to make sure the business has value in and of itself. And a lot of times, in fact, I would say most of the people that I talk to, they don't have value in their business, they have value in themselves personally, right? So like it's your skills. Like when somebody works with you, they literally work with you. And if you were to leave, then there would be no more value remaining in the business. So I think that's a really important thing to think about, because if you do it the right way and you're building recurring revenue and there's value intrinsically within your business, then you've got the benefit of, hey, you have this exit strategy, which is kind of like the entrepreneur's 401k. Have you ever thought about it that way? Where it's like, if you work with somebody else, they've got this retirement plan thing kind of baking in the background for you a little bit. But when you go and work for yourself, you give that up. But as long as you're building value in your actual business through consistent clients, through recurring revenue, through products, through different product as a service type offerings, then your business itself will have intrinsic value, which means you can sell it. So when it's time to get out of it, you can actually sell the business to somebody else, and that's your 401k, which could be millions of dollars. It could be much more valuable than 401k working for somebody else, working from an employer or whatever. But if you neglect that, then you end up with this big problem, whereas you quit working and all your income stops and you've got nothing. And so you're literally potentially leaving millions of dollars on the table by having the value tied to you personally rather than tied to your business. So if that's something that you're interested in thinking about, then let's talk about how to resolve some of those issues. And it's really only an issue if you intend to run your business for a long time. Like if you're just kind of doing something on the side or as a hobby or just a little extra money while you have a different full-time job, it's not really that important. It's more like side gigs. But if you are intending to launch your own business and actually roll with it, right? Like have it be like a career, you're going to want to make sure that the business is building value so that you can have an exit strategy of some sort. So anyway, whether it's something tiny, like you're stuck on Facebook ads or whatever, or something big, like I want my business to have value, you're not alone. You don't have to figure out how to do it by yourself. There's people out there that I can help you with some of this stuff. There's people in this community that can help you with this stuff. And they're willing to do it, just for free or whatever. A lot of times, just ask a quick question, get a bunch of great answers. Or if you really want to I can walk alongside you and help you actually restructure your business so that you're building what we refer to as a solution first agency, which is the opposite of implementation only, which is solution last. And we talked about that last week. Check out last week's podcast if that's something that's the solution first thing is interesting to you. But all that is to say, you're not alone, even though it might feel that way. Like I know, especially like when you're working from home and you're working for yourself, and it feels like maybe the only person to talk to is like your spouse or something, but they don't know anything about what you do because they do something entirely different. And so you just sort of, feel like you're talking to the wall or something like that. They're being nice, they're listening and all that other stuff, but they just don't have any knowledge in this area. And so consequently, it's like, man, I don't have anyone to talk to. I'm not getting any feedback. I'm just stuck in my own bubble here and I'm banging my head against the wall. And don't do that. You don't have to go that route. In fact, if there's something that you want to talk about, head on over to my calendar at doublestack.net/call. And you can grab a time right off my calendar, grab a whole 45-minute chunk, and we'll just dig into some stuff together and figure out what's going to be the best direction for your business next year. And it's totally free. So at the end of the call, you'll come away with some great ideas, some new strategies, some new concepts to put into your business. I can help you with it. If you want to talk about maybe becoming part of the DoubleStack community, we can talk to see if that's going to be a good fit for you, where we can work on this stuff together. But you don't have to do it that way. You can just get some ideas and run with them on your own too, right? So it's like whatever level of support you want, it's out there for you. Whether it's just asking some quick questions through these YouTube comments or Facebook comments or whatever, or post a question in the group. And tons of people have great thoughts about that stuff. Tons of help just for free right now. It could be really in-depth stuff, like you and me put our heads together and start writing proposals together and figuring out what to say on your website together and get your pricing dialed in, get recurring revenue coming for you. Make sure that you're really building a business that has value. So whatever's going on, something's there for you. Don't feel overwhelmed, even though it seems overwhelming. Just realize, hey, you know what? There's a lot of ways to solve the problems that are going on. Tons of other people have done what you're trying to do and are willing to help for free a lot of times. And if there's something that I can do to help, definitely let me know. Even if we just want to get on the phone, or usually we do it over Zoom. We can do a Zoom chat for about 45 minutes and just kind of get a vision going for what you want to do for next year. Put a roadmap in place. So if that's something you want to do, head on over to doublestack.net/call. Find my calendar, pick a time that's going to work for you. We'll get on Zoom, figure some stuff out for next year. All right. So those were my 5 takeaways for 2021. I'm Lee Blue. It's nice talking to you. And grab a spot on the calendar. We'll do a Zoom session. All right. Take care.